Hello and welcome to this edition of Your Trades the Week Ahead. As we gear up for the Bolton account on Monday, the market fizzled out and we did crack below the 6,000 mark as well in trade amongst all the macroeconomic data and the slew of earnings as well which came out.
Oh yes indeed, but for the last half an hour or 1 hour of trade, which probably leads somebody to want people to believe that could there be a positive surprise on the voter count on Monday?
Yeah, well yes, we did see a remarkable recovery actually. So while we dipped below the 6,000 mark in Friday's session itself, we did see a scale up as well. So closed in around the 60-50 mark as well in trade. Of course, for the week, you've had the Bank Nifty, which has actually collided a fair bit. In fact, the PSU banking pack in particular, which saw a fall of nearly 3.5%. The only sectors that actually held out were IT, auto and consumer durables, with the IT index gaining about almost 1%. You had the consumer durables gaining about almost 2% this week, and autos as well held out by about almost 1.5%. Tata Motors, that has gained the most this week, and the biggest loser has been Cipla when it comes to the index.
Broader markets punctuated by gains to certain IT names. So Mindtree, for example, up close to 14-15 odd percent the whole of this week, despite the fact that Midcaps didn't do too well in trade. There were stocks like Muthoot Finance, which had a fairly good session as well. Fairly good sessions, I would say. Eicher Motors post its numbers. Stupendous gains came in for that one. Brokerage is upbeat about the stock, 10% gains coming in. And Bajaj Electricals again, another stock which had a fairly decent move after the numbers, close to 9% in this week gone by. Motherson Sumi, last but not the least, you heard the management speak about the quarters ahead on ET Now, and that stock had a fabulous run. Just a couple of losers that I want to point out. One of them is Thomas Cook, which came off completely after that merger announcement with Sterling Holidays. 14% gone for the week gone by. And last but not the least is India Cements, which after the numbers and wake of all the news flow surrounding it, correcting by 10% in trade. Let's get in our experts for initial comments. Sandeep Wagle as well as Sonam Udasi with their sense of how the markets are looking right now. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining in. Sandeep, a quick one. Bit of a recovery in last 1 hour on Friday's session. Would you recommend selling into this recovery?
Good evening, Neeraj. Yes, I would recommend selling into this recovery with a very clear note of caution that we have an event, so the markets may be choppy. But otherwise, we have in fact taken some small short positions in the last half an hour in the Nifty. We have advised that. And I think we will sooner than later see levels of sub 5900. Now, it is possible that we may see 50 points higher in this choppiness and then fall. But the trend still seems to be on the downside. And this is a very, very clear short covering move or a short covering in anticipation of something positive. So event based.
Sonam, two very good set of numbers, DRL and particularly Sun Pharma, and a really big disappointment in Cipla. What stood out for you?
See, frankly, for Sun Pharma and DRL, basically the premium that the market was giving them sort of should sustain. I mean, the way they represented their numbers and their margins and the body language post the conference calls was clearly, visible for everyone to see. Similarly for Cipla, it seems that they are trying to do, things which may pay out over the next 2 years, but clearly it suggests that over the next 6 months or so, nothing exciting is going to come out in terms of numbers. That said, I think it may not crack beyond a point. For us really, 250 levels will be a clear buying opportunity with a 2-year view. Because all said and done, it is one of the biggest domestic distributors in the country. And last year was not a good year for domestic guys. So this year, probably because of the base effect, this year FY15 should be better for Cipla. So our own sense is that Sun Pharma premium will sustain. That said, at a certain price, I think Cipla will start becoming very attractive.
Sandeep, banks were looking wobbly in Friday's session and SBI leading the charge on the downside. Is there a trade on the Bank Nifty or any of the large PSU names?
Well, we had a sell in the last session of Friday on SBI, and at 1470.75, I would look at a 3 or a 4% downside. We have a target of 1410. Now, yes, it can go up by 20-30 rupees. That is possible. But you will have to hold on with that short position and take that call. And I think in the next 3 or 4 trading sessions, I would expect a target of nearer 1400, 1410.
Tata Motors was the other one which actually held out and quite smartly so, one of the top gainers as well this week. Sandeep, a quick call from you in terms of how Tata Motors is now looking on the charts.
Well, Aisha, it has been holding on for the whole of Friday's session, and the way it has closed is quite encouraging. But as of now, I would talk of a limited move towards 400, 405. Now it is closed at 388, so talk of a 2 or 3% trading upside. The big move will only come once 405 is taken out with force, and that too with volumes, and if it manages to stay above that, then our long-term target of 435, 440 is there. But I really don't think this will happen, keeping in mind the way the weakness is there in the Nifty. So I don't think 430, 440 can come in a hurry. It may consolidate for some time between 400 and 380, and probably 380, 360 is the right level to buy Tata Motors.
And Sonam, a quick word on Tata Steel, because sales volume was high in India and Europe. PAT was higher, of course, but rather was hit by the higher expenses. But I think the EBITDA performance in Europe was pretty heartening.
See, frankly, no doubt the performance was better. But that said, see, currently the state of the market suggests that any bad news in some of the very volatile sectors will be sold into. Any good news will not be really taken very positively. So to my mind, I think metals is a pack generally to avoid, because we think that we will enter a very volatile phase pre-elections, and I don't think that will stand out well for metals.
Some top newsmakers, and that included telecom, surely one of the biggest newsmakers this week, with the 2G auctions coming to an end, a really large amount which may help the government incidentally when the Monday's figures come out. But these stocks had a dismal week, but for Friday's session where this showed signs of perking up. Now, Sonam, have these stocks corrected enough for you to make a bull case scenario on telecom now with the 2G auctions also out of the way?
I'll wait a while. I mean, I understand that there is positivism in the sense that Jio did not go very aggressive, and there is expectation that pricing will be sane going forward as well. But that said, I think one also needs to wait of how they have bid and what kind of impact it will have on the balance sheets. So to my mind, I think that will be the key overhang. Once that is clarified, then probably. But to my mind, I think it's still early days to become positive on telecom right now.
Sonam, a couple of these names, Eicher Motors and CEAT, splendid results, but the stocks have done a little bit. Would you still like them at these levels?
See, Eicher continues to be our clear favorite. I think, the view that we have is that the market will continue to reward the performers. So you will see a concentration towards the overperformers as we head into elections. So whether be it Tata Motors, be it Eicher Motors, be it a HCL Technologies or a TCS, because there is lack of visibility. Wherever the fund managers, portfolio managers see amount of visibility and sustainability of revenue and profits, I think there will be crowding there as we head into the election season.
Sonam, how big an event would it turn out to be for the markets though, the vote on account?
See, frankly, while the focus will be on the fiscal deficit and how he goes about achieving it, I think market has figured out the fact that he will be able to contain it within the targeted number of 4.8. And also I think the market does understand that a lot of the revenue has been booked and a lot of the expenses will be thrown into the next financial year. I think that's all a given. I don't think there'll be a big impact per se on the markets because of this. It's only that how, probably, some of the, in terms of the telecom revenue that comes in or divestment, etc. of Hindustan Zinc or Balco, that may give you little fillip. But to my mind, I think, beyond that, I don't think there is a huge trigger for the market purely on vote on account.
However, there will always be stocks to trade, and Sandeep, what is it that you are recommending? Come Monday morning, 9:15, what can investors or traders buy or sell?
Neeraj, I would want to get beyond the budget, vote on account, not the budget. And I don't want to play for the day. I would want to take stocks where the patterns are very clearly positive and take a little longer term view, which is for a few days or probably a week or so. So I have a buy in a Tata Elxsi, which has given a very clear breakout in the weekly charts, a stop loss of 432, target of 475, looking for a 8 to 10% upside move. The second call is a sell in a Cipla, stop loss of 388, target of 342.
Okay, Sonam, Sandeep, gentlemen, leave it at that. Good to have you guys on board with us as always. We wrap it up on this edition of Your Trades and catch you with all the action in the run-up to the vote and account come Monday morning.